I'm sure that all of you can describe what you're wearing or what other people are wearing using really typical terms like trendy or casual or comfy. Now, that's fine for most things, but for this class, we are going to need to agree on a set of terms for talking about what we put on the body and what we do to the body that are a lot broader and at times more specific than trendy or casual or comfy. I'm sure you can all identify the articles of clothing that you see on the screen. They're all pretty common. You can all tell hiking boots from a bikini, at least I hope you can. Beyond their individual categories, what they all have in common is that people put them on their bodies. Sometimes all day, sometimes for a few hours, maybe only a few minutes if you're trying clothes on in a store back in the pre-COVID days. Like the clothes here, everything that you're used to seeing is pretty contemporary and Western. That's a bit limiting when you want to talk about clothing and bodies and identity. So no surprise, fashion scholars, those are the people who study clothing and dress, just like people study history and science. Those fashion scholars have developed a set of terms that apply to all people everywhere, to all periods, to all cultures. It's sort of like leveling the playing field. You're going to need to learn a few terms that should make it easier to talk about clothing, dress, accessories. There is just no one perfect word for all that stuff. I prefer the term garb myself. It's gender neutral and it covers everything people put on their bodies. Body supplements is your very first term. It's anything that is added to the body, displayed by a person, and worn at a particular moment in time. It includes clothing of any type, but also accessories like jewelry, scarves, shoes, hats, gloves, wigs, crowns. It's a long list. Just think something put on the body, displayed or worn that can be taken off. None of these body supplements are permanent. Body modifications are different. They can't be put on and taken off. When you get your hair cut, you modify your body. When you get a tattoo or your ears pierced, you modify your body. We use the term culture a lot. It's a useful word to identify a way of being in the world, a set of shared practices or beliefs. People make culture. They make material items and they make patterns of thought, feelings, and behaviors that are shared by members of a group who regularly interact with each other. Like these Thai Buddhist monks who are praying at a New Year's ceremony. They share beliefs, practices, and preferences in body supplements and body modifications. Those Thai monks may look different from these Franciscan monks, but they actually have a lot in common. Each group shares a belief system, a set of common practices, and that can include the same body supplements. So these Franciscan men are all wearing robes with knotted rope belts, and you'll see several of them are wearing sandals. That's the same body supplement that they have worn since the 13th century. Sometimes these guys wear ordinary clothing, but for the most part, when you decide to become a Franciscan monk, you wear robes for the rest of your life. Humans make culture. They use material items and patterns of thought, feelings and behaviors that are shared by other interacting humans. Culture includes a broad range of phenomena, both material and non-material, and it's constantly changing because people are changing. Material culture refers to the tangible and concrete objects that people make, which includes body supplements, like these family pajamas that have become so popular in the US in the past decade. They are examples of material culture. But here's that same family, and now let's talk about non-material culture. Non-material culture refers to shared meanings, ideas, perceptions, assumptions that are associated with those made things. We could assume that this family celebrates Christmas and wanted a family photo in their family pajamas. That indicates a lot of shared beliefs, practices, and values. You have all learned a variety of different behaviors and dressing practices. You live in a culture that encourages diversity and individual expression in dress. So in some ways, you are simply following the rules of the culture in which you live. You're looking at a photograph of an Amish family. The Amish live for the most part in Pennsylvania, and they would be termed a microculture, a smaller group of people within a much larger society who do not always agree with members of other groups about values, about meanings, and cultural forms, and who may use body modifications and body supplements to distinguish themselves. Amish dress is very modest for males and females. Amish adult men all grow beards. The men, well, actually males, all wear hats outside. The females wear loose dresses with long sleeves, and adult women wear caps on their heads. They are easily identifiable outside of their culture and perfectly in fashion within their culture. Fashion. Well, as you know, this is a term that people use constantly. Basically, fashion is the idea of changes that come and go in both material and non-material examples of culture, like dress. This is the most neutral and flexible definition of fashion that I know. It comes out of social science, not fashion history, and it can apply to material and non-material examples. Today, the fashion industry is huge and it's global. It's part of what we call commercial scale culture. And that means that commerce, the buying and selling of anything, is the key activity of our society. Most of you will be professionally involved in some aspect of commercial scale culture, which tends to be transnational in nature. You probably recognize all these brands and logos. They appear in countries around the world. Even people who don't speak English may easily recognize McDonald's or the Nike swoosh. We're really not going to focus on brands or the fashion industry in this class, or current fashion designers, or current trending styles. By definition, a postmodern society has no fixed styles or directions. Fashion designers, companies, stores, and influencers can tell people what they'd like them to be wearing, but the truth is, people today wear what they want to, or in the time of COVID, what they have to. The media, commercial scale culture, decades of US economic and social dominance have resulted in some body supplements and modifications that you can find all over the world, like denim and jeans. Does this mean that everyone is wearing them? No. More people do not wear jeans today than do for all kinds of reasons, including comfort, cultural standards, cost, and personal expression. So, everyone dresses every day in some way. How do you dress? And more importantly, why do you dress the way you do? That's where the class starts.